The Fantasy Couriers are proud to be sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. There are games for everyone and in many sports. But right now, it's best ball season. You can draft all year long. The season never ends. You can participate in a slow draft with an 8-hour clock or a fast draft with a 2-minute clock. Stay tuned for some exclusive Fantasy Couriers best ball games during the offseason.
Yeah, so currently the biggest football game in town is Best Ball Mania 4. For those of you that don't know, Best Ball Mania 4 is a big best ball fantasy football tournament for the year. Last year, number 3 was the biggest tournament of all time with 500,000 entrants. That's a lot. That's a big fantasy pool right there. Prize pool of $10 million. That's a lot of money. So Best Ball Mania 4 will be with a total prize of $15 million.
So sign up now for Underdog with the fantasy code Couriers, and they will double your first deposit up to $100 cash. In case you missed that, when you make your first deposit of $10 or more, I didn't mention that before, but $10 or more, up to $100, you get $100 in free credit. Plus, I'll throw in a Fantasy Courier sticker. You sign up, I will email you Fantasy Courier swag. Oh, we got stickers now. Working on some t-shirts. You email me, I'll mail it to you. People that joined before, join one of these contests, and I'll send you a sticker as well.
$100 and a free sticker. Can't go wrong. So join Underdog today, and don't forget to use the code Couriers. A link is in the notes of the podcast. Now, on to the podcast. What is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Happy anniversary to the Fantasy Couriers. 2 years on June 22nd from our first release. Who would have thunk?
Yeah. I had no idea. You popped it up. I was like, who knew? Time flies when you're having fun, right?
But it was pure dumb luck. I posted it on all of our socials. I was just curious. I was like, when was our first release on that day? Because bored. And just randomly it said, today. I was like, well, isn't that perfect timing? And then boom, popped it out everywhere. If you haven't seen everybody, I put a link on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and it had the link to the first ever Couriers episode and the most recent episode last week, the wide receiver special. But I thought it was kind of a cool thing to be like, wow, we've been doing this for 2 years and we're still full of crap and we can still do it. And it's still just as fun to just talk football. And
absolutely.
Does life get any better? So I haven't, and I just noticed it was happening. Have you kept up at all with the USFL?
Not really. I don't keep up with it much. Can't say that I do.
I saw they had the championship this weekend. From what I'm hearing, it's better than it was last year, but I think if you put humans in the stand, that was my turnoff last year. It was like an empty stadium, even when everything else was open. I was like, who wants to see that?
I mean, I can't, like I said, I didn't watch any of it. I can't imagine it not working if they're just able to just tread water for the first couple, first 2 or 3 years. I mean, eventually, as long as they can get some players in there that you've heard of, that can kind of carry. I think that's key. Name recognition. There's just not a whole lot in there. They just need more of these college players, that don't get drafted, that kind of popular to just step over to the USFL. But it's gonna be kind of hard because if they get any chance to play in the NFL at all, they've got to take it, and the USFL just don't stand a chance.
Well, their problem is the XFL got all those guys. The XFL had names that we heard, like Josh Gordon, DC, we had a handful of guys like, I've heard of those guys. I don't remember a couple of them, but I know the name was on my rookie Dynasty draft at some point, and then he really stunk. So, but it's kind of crazy. We think we're sitting here looking, that guy stunk. That dude was a top 20 whatever in the nation in athletic football, but then he gets to the NFL and all of a sudden he's a stinker. It's terrible how bad it goes.
It just makes you think that the NFL is just a complete, professional sports in general is just a completely different animal, man.
Yeah, 100%. So, what better way to celebrate 2 years than the weekend of Tight End University? I've been reading some of the posts. This year they're actually selling official swag, but from what it looks like, you order it and they get it printed, kind of like whoever made my shirt last year for me did. But yeah, I think you need to get some swag. You need like a hat, a t-shirt, maybe some wrists, some sleeves. That would be how we should roll. Tight end you, baby.
Not really my thing, but I did hear Trey Lance was out there at tight end. He's slinging the ball around, so I hear that.
That's gonna be more passes than he throws in the NFL this
Yeah,
season.
I will say there cannot be a more popular storyline in the NFL right now than Trey Lance in the 49er QB situation. It is all over the place. And Trey Lance for being, not playing in 3 years, not playing much in the NFL, he still got his supporters out there. I'm
You're
one
one.
of them. I'm debating whether or not to putting him back in my top 10, my guys. I'm falling back in love with the guy. I just like the guy, man. I can't help it.
Who can't root for Sam Darnold's backup? I don't know. That makes sense. Darnold, the starting quarterback for the 49ers currently, due to the one guy in front of him being like, could you imagine if the 49ers said day one, Sam Darnold is a starting quarterback? Isn't that Shanahan just going, I think I know better than you. You all are morons. Because there's
Uh,
nowhere in the multiverse where Sam Darnold should be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
yeah, well, I'm not gonna say he shouldn't be a starter because we've seen some terrible starters in the NFL. So I'm not saying he
Sam
shouldn't
Darnold,
be a starter, and he might be bad,
Zach Wilson.
but he's still going to get opportunities, and I just can't see a world where Sam Darnold's starting over either one of these guys. So,
2014 XFL Player of the Year, Sam Darnold. Oh, no, he's not good enough. USFL Player of the Year, Sam Darnold. Second runner-up, Zach Wilson. So enough about the 49ers. And that could probably hinge on some of our conversations later because a lot of these tight ends really depend sometimes upon the quarterback and who's there to throw to them, which leads to my lead-in before I go into my favorites and sleepers. Really, there's two tight ends at the king of the mountain. One is like the king of all kings, and the other guy is creeping up there. But both of them are the king of the mountain. And then there's the rest of the guys because their quarterbacks love throwing to them. Lamar Jackson, I don't think can throw to anybody else on planet Earth other than Mark Andrews. And Pat Mahomes is just so good. He gets it to Kelsey when he's got like 8 guys on him, and then he'll sprinkle it to everybody else. How close are these guys?
I think they're pretty close. I think especially if the Ravens' offense opens up a little more, I think we'll get more opportunity. Mark Andrews is just in a lucky situation that he's literally the best player on the team. That he's just they've just never had good. Marquise Brown was okay. He had some good games. It is possible for receivers to flourish there. They just don't have They just don't ever have any good ones. So that just leaves Mark Andrews, as the number one receiver. I think it's close, especially if, like I said, the Ravens open up third a little more. Like, the offensive coordinator they're bringing in supposedly likes to throw the ball more. We'll see. Lamar Jackson can throw the ball. We know he can. It just depends on, if he can run the ball. But yeah, Andrews is just lucky, and I think it's pretty close.
Now, I'm going to ruffle the 8 listeners this week. I have Mark Andrews as my number one dynasty tight end, even though I'm a Kelsey fan. I love Kelsey. I get Kelsey in so many places, actually more than Andrews. How crazy am I from a dynasty rankings? Like this year, Kelsey's my number one tight end, bar none.
You're looking at dynasty, you're looking at age. It's Kelsey's what 31, what 32,
It's like 36.
33. Is he that old? 30. Well, anyway, he's
35.
old. So yeah, if you're looking at it from Dynasty, I can see where you could put Andrews as your number one tight end. It makes sense. Uh, Kelsey doesn't look like he's slowing down at all with the best quarterback in the league that literally loves the guy. So, Dynasty is a 2 to 3 year window. Is it possible that Kelsey is still the best tight end for 2 to 3 years? I think it's still possible.
You're making me reconsider here because I do think everyone's like, how long's Kelsey? I still think the dude has 3 years. He'll be in October. He'll be 34. So
yeah, he doesn't win. I don't think he really. I'm not gonna say he's not athletic. Don't say, but he doesn't really win with athleticism per se as like some tight ends. He's a good route runner. He knows where to be, and he knows where Pat Mahomes wants him to be. So it just works. He's lucky too. Both these top tight ends, they're just lucky to be in the situation they are.
And it's funny on Pro Football Reference they have all those like nicknames that they have. Remember the hilarious Danny Dimes one? But Travis Kelsey's nickname disappeared. Do you remember his nickname when he came into the league?
I have no idea. I don't even remember Travis Kelsey when he came into the
He
league.
was Baby Gronk. He was called Baby Gronk. So now that he could stay healthy and play longer and arguably better than Gronk, he that's disappeared. It's not on here anymore. But yeah, I could see him being good for. Oh, I might have to flip him because as I was looking through this for the show, I was moving around a couple of guys looking at it anyway. But yeah, Kelsey Andrews, you'd be lucky to have both of them. And my other question I have for you before I jump in is: tight end premium is a new added format in many places to make tight ends worth more. In some leagues, it does. In some, it's almost like a trick play. Some leagues will go, hey, PPR for a receiver, 1 point, then a 1.5 for a tight end. Does that really move the needle for tight ends, or does it need to be a?
Not really. I mean, I think we all know my disdain for tight ends. I think they're terrible. There's just I think it needs to be like at least like a point more than what they're going to get because there's just not enough of these tight ends to make them valuable enough for like a half a point. I mean, these guys, I mean, it's bad. I think it needs at least be a point. If you're going with a point PPR for wide receivers and running backs, I feel like it's got to be at least two for tight ends to make them more valuable asset. Because once you get down to like five,
Oh, I mean,
like
really, if you look, I've heard some.
like I said, there's more than five good tight ends. I'm not. I mean,
There's no five. There's not five great tight. Like
I
there's
mean,
good players, but as far as fantasy, it gets sketchy as you go farther. I've heard some guys talking and I've seen some stuff that if you look at where some of these guys are, even in tight end premium, because it's not that big of a difference, they're still barely a wide receiver 3. So you don't want to miss out on. I mean, a wide receiver 3 could be who we look at Dotson. Would you rather have Dotson or Dalton Schultz? Which
I'm definitely taking. I mean, like,
that's the challenge you run into.
Like if I don't get like the top two tight ends, which is hard because I probably won't get him anyway because it's hard for me to draft tight end that high, even in a tight end premium. At that point, I'm not taking like any of these tight ends over someone like I'm not gonna say none of them, but I mean Dotson's a pretty good player at that point. I gotta have like a top 5 tight end at that point.
Before I send you in, the last question for you in the Fantasy Couriers Bonker Balls League that's coming up in a few months. I think I'm gonna make it a charity league for some cool charity. I'm doing two quarterbacks and a super flex, and start 2 tight ends, tight end premium, 2-point catches like you were just saying. How high? What does that value? I mean, we know quarterbacks have to go heavy and early.
Well, I'm going to be honest. There's going to be 31 quarterbacks taken before maybe any other player is taken. Because if you're doing it this way and it's two QBs, you've got to get your 2, or you're not going to have any. So there could like the first 2 rounds are going to be nothing but quarterbacks.
Isn't it crazy? We're going to see like who's the 24th ranked quarterback. So Mac Jones will go before Travis Kelsey.
I mean, you've got to. I mean, it's how it goes.
Hence the Bonker Balls League. It's going to be great. That's going to get everything out. So keep your ears peeled for that. Okay, now into tight ends. I have favorite, sleeper, boom, bust, and rookie from the DJ Dove side. I'm going to start with my favorite. I think it's a guy you like as well. That's what I always like to start. Like last week, we did Chase and Jefferson. Those are the top 2. And then tight ends, we had the other guys are the top 2. My favorite tight end is a guy that I think we're both fans of. I've liked him for years. I actually, until I happened to just dumb luck fall into Kelsey, Dallas Goedert was my tight end on one of my teams. He'll be 28 for this season. This is his age 28 season. He's on arguably top 2, at least the top 3 offense in the league. And the interesting thing, though, is he's never eclipsed 830 yards or 5 touchdowns. But he's still a popular. Is this the year that he comes over that hump, or am I getting too excited just because I like Dallas Goedert because there's so many good receivers?
I mean, I like Dallas Goedert. I love Dallas Goedert from the get-go. Big dude. I love big tight ends. He's 6'6", 250 type. He can catch the ball. Great red zone threat. But my issue, yes, the Eagles are, a top, 3 offense, but what kind of offense are they, right? They like to run the ball a lot. They've got two elite receivers, plus like the quarterback runs a lot. They got the running backs, two elite receivers. So if he's going to throw for, let's say, for 4,000 yards, two of his, you got 2,000-yard receivers, two top 12. I think it's going to be hard for Dallas Goedert to exceed that 1,000 yards, but I can see in a world where he maybe gets into double-digit touchdowns. If he can, that's very possible, but I don't think the yards will be there.
Double-digit touchdowns, that hits him right to tight end 3, doesn't it, automatically?
Absolutely. If he can score touchdowns, I mean,
Who's that
top 3, number 3 tight end is definitely an option, but I think the yards are going to be hard.
So I agree. I think touchdowns are probably going to be his way because I mean Smith I think exceeded expectations even for us. Like I never was a big Smith fan, but he really showed up last year. And I was thinking this week while I was listening to some podcasts and biking, like how much I hated AJ Brown, and now I have like AJ Brown everywhere, and I'm rooting for AJ Brown, but I guess it's because AJ Brown played in Tennessee. So sleeper of the year, it's interesting. I wanted to put Chig for like all of these, and I put him for none of them. What if I were to tell you that my sleeper of the year had a year with 107 receptions, 1,196 yards, and 9 touchdowns, but he's my sleeper this year?
You're gonna have to sell me on this one.
Darren Waller.
You're gonna have to sell me. You have to sell me hard. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
So Darren Waller has been hurt the last couple of years. Darren Waller has been stuck behind Devontae Adams. Darren Waller is now in a New York Giants system with Dable, who's got basically 6 slot receivers, so he's the big slot receiver. Daniel Jones isn't going to toss it for giant long bomb, so he's going to have his outlet, the guy he's going to hook up there on the short curls or whatnot. He apparently, from all is said, he'll be 30. He'll be 31 basically this season, and he signed I think it was a 3 to 4 year contract with the Giants to be their premier receiving, pass catching tight end. There's no one else to throw to, so almost kind of like my Hollywood Brown argument is the reason Darren Waller is going to bounce back. I could see him easily 800 yards and 7 touchdowns.
So this is my problem. For tight end. I mean, this is my issue. You said it in your speech there. He's the best receiving option that they have. He's been doing it for a while. He has been injured. If they gave him the money, they gave him the contract, with all those things added together, it's hard for me to see. I'm not a big fan of Darren Waller, but it's hard for me seeing Darren Waller as a sleeper. His sleeper is a guy that you don't think is going to do it. He'll kind of come out of nowhere. That's not Darren Waller. I think Darren Waller is poised to have if he stays healthy, he's poised to have a solid year. But like I said, I don't see him as a sleeper. But
so you think my everything except the term sleeper, you could see him doing everything I said?
Oh, I could definitely see I could see him and like Goddard having like pretty much the exact same season, like that kind of tight end. But like I said, he's the only option. I'm not a huge fan, but I just can't. It's hard for me to see him as a sleeper.
What if I throw in the other guy in a quick 30-second note, Irv Smith Jr.? That's
a sleeper.
System with what Hayden Hurst did last year, popping into that role, being his size, and I mean, how old do you think Irv Smith Jr. is? This is ridiculous.
He's probably like 23, right?
24.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like I said, this is a sleeper. Like everybody's. I don't say everybody. I think everybody has loved Irv Smith at some point.
Oh yeah,
in his career. He's always injured, just never broke through. I think this is a good sleeper pick.
Okay, I'll change it. Irv Smith Jr. is my sleeper pick. Now I got too many screens up as I'm trying to do this. On to my boom. My boom is a guy I loved last year. He's being talked up by Sean Payton as going to be, I'm trying to find the term and I lost it in my brain. But that's Greg Dulcich. Greg Dulcich of the Denver Broncos. Joker, that's what they're going to do. He's going to be their Joker in the Sean Payton system. Russell Wilson likes to throw to some tight ends. There's a couple tight ends over the years. I was looking up tight ends that they've had over the years that he's made, names that we've actually heard of because of him would be like, weirdly like Zach Miller, Luke Wilson. No guys that have exploded, but they've gotten they've gotten connected. And then he had Jimmy Graham for a couple of years. So give him a good big body tight end with athleticism. He makes him look pretty good for those couple of years. Nick Vanette, but I think with what I believe is going to be a resurgent year for Russell Wilson, I have to probably concede that Cortland Sutton's not going to be the big part of that. Jerry Jeudy, I'll probably have to finally agree with you. Somebody else has to be that other connection, and I could see it being the Joker.
It's possible. Like I said, I don't really have too many thoughts on anybody on this Denver offense other than Jerry Jeudy. I mean, it's possible. I mean, like I said, if the offense is better, like we think Sean Payton will make them, there's going to be more weapons on offense. Tight ends were successful in Seattle with Russell Wilson. I mean, there were some years with good tight ends. So if he's a good tight end, I think he'll be used, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. How about my bust? This isn't going to be popular. I had two names here. The first, they're both rookies because rookies generally are the busts. Sam Laporta, I was going to throw in there because he's just been hyped up so much, but I don't think he's being taken as early as Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid in Buffalo, all of a sudden, because they got this kid who's a great athlete, he's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Josh Allen has never really thrown. He's got a great tight end right now, arguably. Okay, a good tight end.
Let's stop throwing the word. You just said it earlier. There's only two great tight ends. Dalton Knox is nowhere near that level. Come on now.
Okay, a good tight end in Dawson Knox.
Borderline average.
But not, I mean, to the point that we're saying that Kelsey and Andrews were made great because of two great quarterbacks and good places. What better place is there to be than Buffalo?
Dawson Obviously, Knox there's a lot better places because the tight ends, because Dawson Knox hasn't done very good. He's done okay.
He's done okay. He's been sort of just like, blah. You're like, okay, I like him
of touchdowns. Because of touchdowns.
Every 3 weeks. So why all of a sudden is this Dalton Kincaid kid going to do what they can't do? So now there's two tight ends. There's Stephon Diggs. I just don't see it.
Because Dawson Knox, I love this term, but I think Dawson Knox or Dalton Kincaid is bigger, stronger, faster than Dawson Knox. Bigger, stronger, faster. I don't want to say it wins out, but in this case, in this kind of offense, they need other options, and Kincaid can be that receiving option. I believe. I mean, first year tight ends, we know it's hard. We've seen it. Not everybody's successful. It takes a while, but in this offense, even especially now with Stephon Diggs, obviously upset at Josh Allen for some reason. It's absolutely insane because he didn't.
Sounds like Keyshawn Johnson to me.
Because he didn't get 27 targets in a game. I mean, there's like I said, there's options there for him to get the yards. That's why it's that. I think that's why it's like that.
And it could be just because I think he's gonna go.
Oh. And he was the first tight end taken.
Yeah, but he's gonna go. But he's going so high. I wish I didn't see if I can find average draft position for him, but that's why he's not my tight end rookie for the year, which is Michael Mayer.
Yeah,
I'm doubting myself right now. Michael Mayer of the Oakland Raiders. I'm just once again, it's quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo likes to throw it at the tight end. That's basically it. I mean, rookie tight ends don't do diddly squat anyway. I just traded away Michael Mayer, him in a terrible trade in one of our leagues, a guy that listens. And I even literally before the trade went through, I said, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm overpaying. I'm giving everything I can to get him because I like him. I think he's going to be the next." He thinks he's a Notre Dame fan who likes the Raiders and thinks he's going to be better than Gronk. I was like, I wasn't going to give him away for peanuts, but I was like, if this is what you legitimately think, like I'm not. It's one of those like you feel I don't want to ruin a league with some silly trade, but also I was like. I even gave him a second, like another guy offered me a trade about the same ranks, and he was like, "Oh, maybe I did get too excited because there's trades you'll take because you're like, okay, I'm winning a little bit, but other ones." But I just think the situation in Oakland, they do like to throw it to the tight end generally over there, but Jimmy Garoppolo especially, and why not? That's all. Rookie tight end.
Why not? I mean, he was the number one kid coming out of college. Like there towards the end, it kind of got kind of iffy. But like I said, first year tight ends is tough. I mean, there's going to be opportunity, so we'll see how it works.
Yeah. So the answer to my earlier question is Dalton Kincaid is tight end 14 overall 131. So he's going like around Cole Kmet and Chig and Dalton Schultz
I
kind of
mean,
thing.
that's not bad.
Not
I
terrible.
mean, it's kind of where you expect him to be. I don't think it's too much right there.
I think it had to have sunk some because it was rookie season too. So
Yeah, that probably helps out a lot.
all I got on my favorites there. I mean, I could talk about Chig for the next hour and his athletic profile and how excited I am if he was anywhere except in stinking Tennessee. But that's what I got. What you got for us, JJ Wang?
All
Get us
right,
excited about some tight ends, baby.
this is going to be quick. You took up a lot of time because I know you like your tight ends. So I gave you all the time. This is going to be quick. I'm going to call this. So you're telling me there's a chance. We're going to go through some tight ends. Chance, not even if they're a top 12, just a chance that they're going to be fantasy relevant. All
Yes.
right. So, so
Yes.
we're going to go to LA. You get Gerald Everett. Any chance?
Gerald Everett. I was so on the Gerald Everett train last year. I mean, there's a chance, but I think that chance got squashed a little bit when they added a third big bodied receiver. So
So you're
there's,
telling me there's not a chance?
well, with all tight ends, there's a chance, but he's 26 for me. He's, no, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I love Gerald
Okay.
Everett.
All right. We're going to go to Dallas. We've got two of them. We got Schoonmaker and Hendershot. We know the tight end in Dallas. It does get used. Is there a chance these
You,
guys?
you missed the tight end one.
I'm all right. These are the guys I'm going with. Is there a
No.
chance? All right.
I think Ferguson's the guy. I mean, I think Shoemaker's a get on the field, but
All right.
if of the two, it's him.
Going to Detroit. You mentioned him a little earlier. Sam Laporta. Is there a chance he's relevant?
Yes, based upon shorts and t-shirts,
Oh,
and no
oh,
Jameson Williams. So yeah,
all right. Going to New Orleans. We've got two tight ends. We got Juwan Johnson, who I know you love, and we got Taysom Hill, who somehow is a top 12 tight end. Or either one. Well, I'm going to go a little higher on this one. Will either one of these guys be a top 12 tight end?
no, they could be like 14 and 15, 15 and 16 together because Derek Carr, once again, he's very similar to Jimmy G. Likes that tight end. I mean, he made Waller the success.
All right, gotcha. So we're going to go to Arizona. There's two tight ends. We got Trey McBride, the second-year rookie. Zach Ertz. Been in the league a really long time. Got hurt, but he was playing well before he got injured last year. So is there a chance that McBride is better than Zach Ertz this year?
This year, no. I have McBride Dynasty ranked higher because he's young and Ertz, but I think Ertz is going to have to come out balling because Thune or whoever is going to be the starting quarterback before Kyler is going to throw it to the biggest, closest guy, and that's going to be Zach Ertz because he looked pretty okay last year. But I think McBride's got another year or two.
All right. So that's all I got for that real quick. So I got two tight ends here that I kind of like. Sleeper, it's deep. These guys might not even play, but there's a chance that these guys are tight end two for their teams. We're going to go to the Washington Commanders. We know they've got an older tight end in Logan Thomas, plays well sometimes, but we got this young guy, 6'6", 250, only had 2 catches last year, but he is killing it in OTAs from what I gather. Mini camps looking good. That's Cole Turner. Like you said, there's a good chance that he's tight into, maybe even creeps into that tight end one if he can get on the field. So keep an eye out. Tight ends are crazy. And the other one, I'm going to go to probably one of my favorite teams here, to the 49ers. That's Cameron Latu out of Alabama. We know George Kittle's the man. He loves the block. He's never going to come off the field. But there is a history of injury. And again, Latu has looked good in mini camps. He was a good receiver in Alabama. Didn't get a lot of, but he had 57 catches in 2 years. Plays well, gets a lot of touchdowns. Big guy, 6'6", 250. Third round pick. So you know they like him. So keep an eye on him. If he's out there, you got room. Tight end premium, you never know.
Hmm. As you're saying that, a couple guys that popped into mind for me were Kate Otten over in Tampa. Was starting to get some targets towards the end, and Tyler Conklin up in New York. Like I'm a Coons guy, out of ODU, big guy, but once again, rookie tight end. I mean, you would hope for his sake he gets passed to by Aaron Rodgers, but I kind of hope Aaron Rodgers falls in his face because I don't really like him. But
And I got
Conklin,
one more. And just because of my hatred for tight ends, literally, it's got to be the worst tight end room in the NFL. Your Miami Dolphins.
oh, terrible.
Literally the worst. So kudos.
Dalton's, I mean, Durham Smythe.
Oh, yeah. Terrible.
He didn't win. And you know what the great thing is? They're terrible. I'm rooting for the kid, Wiggins, I believe. I drafted him everywhere, but he's not going to be anything because he's a converted wide receiver. But yeah, Smythe always nabs like 4 touchdowns a year, but he's a blocker. But then again, is Tua really going to throw it to anybody other than Waddle and Hill and Cook
Why
and
not?
So do you notice how I snuck that in there?
Awesome.
I think he's still coming there. But yeah, that's tight ends. It's once again the giant crapshoot. You either draft early or you stack late. Like if you wait till late, would you? So we are talking dynasty. How many tight ends would you roster if, say, like honestly, if you have like Kelsey or Andrews, you can roster some putts. But let's say your first tight end is like Hayden Hurst in Carolina because you're like, hey, he's got a rookie quarterback. How much backup do you really put there? Or do you say, screw it, I'm going to see what shows up on the waiver wire?
I mean, if you got deep rosters, 30, 28, 30 players, I like to keep 4 tight ends. I mean, I think there's definite room. If I don't have like a good number one, I'll keep like 4 tight ends, just hoping that, one of them, like one of, I mean, I'm not starting
Yeah,
probably any of them, but I'm just hoping one of
that's
them
fine.
blows up and, I don't need to keep four and I can only, I just need to keep one.
Yeah, a name that kind of scares me with a guy we like is Darnell Washington. They're starting to like him up in Pittsburgh. If he becomes a thing, what about the Muth? I don't think
Yeah, he's not, and the Muth is too much of a thing.
Muth is a good thing. So give us some wisdom, JJ Wang, and let's roll out as we begin year number 3 of the
Yeah,
fan.
absolutely. So like I was telling you earlier, I've been outside doing soccer all day. It's 8:30 in the morning. I love it. It's so much fun. But I just want to say, parents, please, there's not a lot of girls out there playing soccer. If you keep them playing soccer, I'm guaranteeing you, you're going to have like a starting player on a team because there's just not enough of them out there. Just give them a little action. Get these girls on the field. It's a blast. There just needs to be more girls out there playing soccer. It's just not. I'm not to say there's not, because there's certain areas, bigger soccer areas, but it's just like once they hit that 12, 13-year-old, they just disappear from the sport. And there's no reason for it. They can continue to play. There's so much opportunity. So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.